Good afternoon, all.
Bill, is there any news on the Kentucky game? Some of the national guys were saying it's going to be an Indy.
Gary, you know as much as I do on that, and I would say the national guys are they may be onto something, but I don't think anything's been settled positively yet. I do believe the game's going to happen. I do believe it'll be at a neutral site, at least everything that's been told me. But even what's been told to me hasn't been etched in stone, so to speak. So, but we think the game's going to come off, and we just don't know all the details about it yet.
Coach, when you were putting this schedule together and trying to figure it all out, I mean, how important was it to you to kind of keep some of those marquee games like this one, or was it just let's get games and however it has to happen, it has to happen?
No, that's putting it together. Sean's really done the most to keep it together, but no, we thought we had to play. Our goal was to play non-league games that you would have at least 3 to 4 that would be considered top 15, top 10 type teams in America. And then the rest of it, just try to get a schedule. So, our schedule's still not done. We haven't decided yet if we're going to play a 27th game or keep it at 26, because to play a 27th one, it'll certainly be trying to squeeze in something. And does the good outweigh the negative, potentially on playing another team and all the testing protocol and the contacts and all that stuff. So we haven't decided that yet or not, but Sean did a really good job of holding this thing together. I'm excited about the Gonzaga deal, without question, even though I don't believe that's been finalized 100% yet. The two things that we know is Creighton and Tennessee. So, out of 9 games, you get Creighton, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Gonzaga. That's a top 5 schedule probably in America, regardless of anybody else and who they're playing.
And Coach, every year you enter the season, a bunch of guys, a bunch of potential contributors, and then you kind of whittle it down into your rotation. I'm curious, what would be the biggest number, or the most guys you've ever played deep into a season, if there is that? And is there an ideal number that you'd like to hit with this team?
Well, when we were at Illinois, we played 9 a lot. But we were different. We had 4 really, really, really good big guys, and so we didn't care if they got into foul trouble because, a guy gets 2 fouls in the first half. It guaranteed us playing others, so nobody could really complain about playing time because everybody knew we almost encouraged fouling. So that allowed you to sub and get different guys in there. And those players were really, they were pros. And then the most I've ever played on the perimeter was 5. Well, now I think we could play 6 on the perimeter, and we could play maybe 7. But I think 6 is realistic. Maybe a 7th as a spot person, and then you play 2 bigs. That's 8 or 9, and I think that we'll probably max out at that. And when I'm talking about 8 or 9, I'm talking that are playing double-digit minutes. That doesn't mean somebody else can't get in the game, but I'm talking about guys that play double-digit minutes. I still think it'll be 8 or 9, just depending on situations and fouls and who's playing well that particular night. Because we've had some separation, but we haven't had as much separation as probably what you'd like this late into a practice season.
Bill, is that gap between starters and guys who will come off the bench, is it smaller than most years?
I'd say it's there's been some separation, but the separation, like let's say that 3 or 4 guys we know they're going to be starters, but the separation is with the 5th guy. There's no separation. So and they're good enough to be in the game when the starters aren't in. So it's not a bad problem. It's probably a good problem to have, but that's why I say, you could make a case Tristan Anaruna, Jalen Wilson, Tyon Grant Foster or Bryce Thompson should and could all be starters 2 days a week. And you can make a case that Ochai, Christian, Marcus, and David are starters 7 days a week. So, it's just we don't know how it's all going to play out.
Hey, Coach, how are you guys health-wise, and has Latrell been able to get on the court yet?
He got on the court yesterday for the first time half court. So I think that we're closer to being healthy, knock on wood. He actually looked very good, super competitive kid. I don't know if if he'll be allowed to go up and down in the next couple of days, but just having him out there and getting back into a little bit of rhythm, I'm hopeful by the first of next week he can be close to 100%. And everybody else is out there other than Michael Jankovic.
Coach, last year, Ochai got off to a little bit of a slow start. And I don't know how much you guys looked at that in the offseason, or he looked at it probably a lot. But did you spend any time looking at that and maybe ways he can avoid that this year, or is it just part of life, or what?
You know what, Matt? I couldn't tell you if he got off to a good start or bad start, or I really couldn't. I know he made a couple of huge threes against Duke in the first game. But I don't remember his stats on the first game. What I have told him though, is the start of every game he needs to be aggressive. He needs to be a guy because I think he can get confidence so much by seeing some good things happen, or I think he can just kind of be a blend-in guy. And for us to be good, he can't be a blend guy. He needs to be a guy that makes plays for us. So I've encouraged him to every practice, every game, hey, look for your moments, look to score the ball, look to shoot it whenever you're open, be ultra aggressive early. And if things don't go well, we can always pull back. But the tendency with him, with me, is the fact that when he gets going pretty good early, he can definitely impact the game in a great way for us. But he can also kind of just be 1 of 5 out there real easily too, and we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I was talking mostly like the first 3, 4, 5 weeks of the season, where it seemed like he was in his head a little bit. That kind of thing.
It may have been. I personally haven't talked to him about that. I think players when they evaluate the past season, they remember the most recent. I don't think Ochai's thinking about, oh geez, the first games 3, 4, and 5 that he doesn't even remember. I didn't do this very well. I think he's thinking more about this is how I played down the stretch. Right. So, but I could be wrong on that. I certainly will not bring that up with him. But I could see the point you're making. But I don't think that's going to be a factor whether he's good or not so good. How the season started.
He's past that point. He's just a veteran now, right? Is that?
My personal opinion is on a lot of things. You can dissect anything and get good or bad out of it. And sometimes that's just life. Maybe he had a cold. Maybe he just played like crap. Maybe every shot was in and out. I don't know. And I'm not gonna go back and dissect that.
Bill, what has impressed you about Christian?
Well, up until yesterday, he has shot the ball unbelievably well. Okay. But 1 of 13 in scrimmage situations yesterday from 3 doesn't do a lot to keep one excited about how well he was shooting it. And certainly we talked about that yesterday. But no, he's been good. He shot it good. He's aggressive. He's really improved, guys. He's really improved. But the bottom line is for us, not so much as Isaiah, but he needs to be able to make shots for us because you're going to have to guard him. And when you guard him, it stretches it and creates passing lanes and driving lanes. And so he's very important for him to have him out there.
And as of right now, offensively, do you see him as a complementary piece, like you said, make open shots, or is he somebody that you might have to run some plays for or create shots for?
I think the latter more so than guys, we'll have some different things that we go to, but I really could care less who scores on this team. It's not like we got to get Devon shots and Doak touches. It's or Svi shots and Devontae shots. So you know what we got to do? We just need to play and let the open man, basically take what he's given. And even though I think that We can do that with Christian to a point, but we need to be able to create as many looks for him as we can. And still yet, he's gotten better with the ball. He's gotten better driving it. He's a good player. I mean, he's a really good player. But as far as, I see this being a team where not like last year or the year before where guys had to score in order to play good. I see this being a team where, hey, some guys get 8 a game, some guys get 12 a game. At the end of the game, it adds up to 80. That's what I'm kind of hoping for.
Bill, have you given much thought to how you'll strategically use your depth?
Well, yeah, I have. I don't think that we're unbelievably athletic team. I thought initially we could really get out and maybe pressure. I don't think that's who we are. I think we can play to our length from a depth standpoint. So could we press some, zone press some? Yeah, I think we could do that. But I haven't really thought about how to take advantage of our depth except play so hard, hopefully, and defend so hard that it forces you to play multiple guys, and in the last 10 minutes of the game, maybe it wears on people. That's basically really all I've kind of thought about. I don't think our depth is great in certain positions at all. When you start practicing, you're looking at 12 and thinking, oh yeah, we could do this, we could do that, and then you get into practice a little bit, and it's kind of like recruiting. When you sign a guy, hey, they all, and KU fans know this as well as anybody. When you sign a guy, well, they are great. A guy could be ranked 300th, and oh, geez, he's all this and all that. They're great, and then when you actually get them, then you start seeing more and more things that maybe they need to improve on. It's the same thing in practice. You look at guys and you say, oh God, this guy's got so much speed. He can do this. He can create this, and then you realize, well, he does have unbelievable speed, but he's only got speed dribbling the ball with his right hand. So if team forces him left, he's not near as fast. I mean, so there's a lot of things that happen like that. But I like our guys. I don't think we're overly athletic, though. I think we're very long, which, makes you look more athletic because you can shrink the court.
Have you had another official scrimmage since we saw you? And has anybody stood out? Like David, you said on Hawk Show was 10 for 15.
Yeah, we've actually he's 15 to 20. I may have said it wrong, but he was 15 to 20 in our first scrimmage, and I think the second scrimmage he's like 5 of 15. So we have official scrimmage may be a little strong, but we've had officials in the gym a couple of times, and I thought the second scrimmage was much better than the first, but the production was so much worse because I thought guys actually tried to guard in the second scrimmage. So, but yeah, it's a different guy every day right now, Gary. But what we're trying to do, we're trying to hold as many scrimmage situations with officials, because we obviously don't have exhibition games or scrimmages as we possibly can, over the next 2.5 weeks. So we'll scrimmage at least twice a week from this point forward.
Couple more for Coach. Hey, it sounds like you're kind of anticipating having a really balanced approach offensively. I mean, is there any guy who's maybe a go-to scorer, or is it more of a team approach this year?
I would say, from what I've seen so far, I would say David would be the guy that you would think would have to score points on a daily basis, just because he's our big guy, and we've always played through our bigs. And he's going to get touches. So I would say that. I would say whoever's playing in that pivot spot probably has the best chance to score points because we're going to try to make sure he gets touches. You could also say Marcus, because the ball's always in his hands, but Marcus is probably a better creator and enjoys doing that more than he does actually scoring the ball himself or finishing the plays himself. So I see it by committee. I really do. I really do.
Hey, we talked a lot a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago even, about just you not wanting to push these guys too hard because of what a weird year it's been and how they hadn't been home, or they had been home and then they came back. Where are you at now with the next 2-3 weeks leading up to the season? Is there a timeline for, hey, we'll really turn it up this day or a week out?
Oh
or
yeah.
anything
Oh no,
like
no, no. That's been happening, Matt. There's certain days that we get turned up, and
Okay.
then there's certain days we back off. Like today will not be a turned up day.
Yeah.
Because we were turned up yesterday and we're going to scrimmage tomorrow. But today we'll hopefully get more done and more in than we have the other days, because the way I like to do it, when on days we're turned up, I don't like those to be my teaching days.
Right.
I want to be turned up from minute one for 2 hours. And the days that are teaching days, I'm fine with being teaching from minute 1 to 2 hours. So, but no, we've turned it up. Our guys are in good shape. We put pressure on them in that way. But the way the rules are now, you got to give kids a minimum of 2 days off a week in order to get your 12 days off out of the 42 days prior to your first game. So, it's not too hard for anybody, to be real candid with you, because you're practicing 3 off 1 or practicing 2 off 1.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Coach.
See you guys.
See you.